The Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience. The players, all caps, championship, bets, preview, picks, one and done. We got it all for you. I do want to let everyone know if you want to get into the Pat Mayo Experience Listeners League DraftKings Open. I believe, I don't have confirmation as we're doing this yet, but it could be increased to 5,000 entries this week. No rake, which means $75,000 in guaranteed money. It's $15 to enter. You can enter up to 3 times. It's not one of these 150 max. You can find the description to that contest in the link to that contest in the description of this podcast or video. You'll be able to find it on Tuesday's show as well. If you just for whatever reason don't watch this one, which would be crazy, you want to watch this one for sure every single week. And it'll be on Tuesday's show with Ben Raza and Rick Gaiman, who will be breaking down the DraftKings field for me. A preview. That might be the Masters pairing this year, so we'll see how it goes, see how those two interact with me. The players like a test run for the majors. We see the betting board. We see all the content this week. Like, for example, I'm back live on Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern time with Reed Fowler, taking your questions on the DraftKings YouTube page, my Facebook page, my Twitter. We'll figure it all out from there. And then the big one, Friday, Cut Sweat Live. Watch me lose a bunch of money live on air. Maybe Geoff too.
Yeah, can't wait. I'll have extra DK lineups this week just because we're doing the cut sweat.
I believe that they're going to offer the to make the cut odds. Should we rig up a between you and I a to make the cut parlay like I had at the Masters, which went so poorly?
Those get sneaky, although some people hit like windfalls with those suckers. But this is a gong show. This isn't the Masters and trying to figure out who's going to make the cut.
Well, no, the big thing with the Masters is they're going to give you similar odds at the players they will at the Masters, except at the Masters there's only like 85 guys and 20 of them are fucking terrible. So that makes it a bit easier. That's how I end up hitting 13 of 14 every year and still losing.
But you look at the names that miss the cut here annually.
Anyone.
It's so unpredictable.
I have it written down. I make my notes after every single tournament, every single year. So I went back and I opened up the players ledger. Do you know what it said from the last 2 years from the Players Championship?
There's probably an angry message in how you need to cut your exposure.
Yes. Don't invest a cent into this stupid tournament is what it said 2 years in a row. And my second biggest golf win ever, betting-wise, not DraftKings-wise, betting-wise, came at this tournament, the first year that we met.
It was a dagger to me.
Keimer 80-1.
That putt
on 17
was better than most.
For me, it was most definitely.
I don't know. It was a par putt too, right?
Yeah.
A dagger. I had a nice Furyk ticket. You had your Keimer ticket. Oh, that was.
And I got in on Siwoo live because Add-On had talked him up at 750 to 1. I grabbed him at like 150 to 1 because he was the first time this really ever came into play for me. And I did a big show on this over the weekend. If you check out the DK YouTube page right now, the description of this video will have the link. I actually walk people through how I research golf every single week. And I even touched on how I attack some of the live stats as well. Siwoo was the first ever player, like right when like live stats were coming around and really digging into that he was gaining so many strokes tee to green, and the guy could not make a putt. And he was like 4 off the lead, yet no one knew who Siwoo Kim was, so his odds were just really stupid. It was almost like KH Lee 2 weeks ago when he was 2 shots off the lead and he was 70 to 1. It was like, he's playing well. You might as well take the risk. He has a better than 1 in 70 chance of winning this.
I don't have the fond memories of the players that you do, Pat.
It's just the last 2 years, like it's mainly DraftKings wise, I've been wiped off the board, like $0 returned on my investment.
No. I'm actually now like it's all coming back to me. Like bad players.
You're like Celine Dion.
Like even my boy Ricky winning. I feel like I had Kisner and Sergio tickets that day. It was a 3-man playoff.
It was
right?
a 3-man playoff.
And he like barnstormed. Like he wasn't even supposed to.
He went like birdie, eagle, birdie. I think to get into the playoff.
His wife and girlfriend were at the airport, man.
What a time not to have Ricky for you.
That was like before I started really defending him. I started defending him sort of after his one, like really staunchly after his 1 win year that was statistically unreal.
When he won the Honda.
And then he went on to not win again until this recent Super Bowl Sunday.
I do want to let everyone know if they want to get into a draw for $20 DK dollars, there are 2 ways to do that this week. Number 1, smash the like button for the episode. Leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section. And tell me the biggest name player you think is going to miss the cut this week. Now, let's go by odds when we talk about this.
Jim Furyk.
Just because Harris English.
No, that was a joke.
I know.
Because he lives there. He actually might play well this
But
week.
like if you say Jordan Spieth, Jordan Spieth's 55-1. He's no favorite in this field. I want a big name, a bold take on who you think is going to miss the cut this week. And the other way to do it is leave an iTunes review, or leave a Spotify review, Stitcher review, a review on the audio podcast. Give it 5 stars, something nice about the show, DK handle, boom, you're in that draw. We will be announcing the winners on this show next Monday. So the winners from last week, we got a bunch. We got, Brand Spam, Todd Abloh, JMac0340, Bud McDevitt, Wes the Best, 26. CD Rigier 96, JCon 419, Filthy Frankster, BJT, and Awesome Gamer 22. Sounds like a bot.
Awesome Gamer.
Well, Awesome Gamer got himself 20 DK bucks. So that should be, I don't think it's in your account yet. Should be there pretty soon. And we got some big winners, as usual, Jeff. You pointed this out. We were talking about this a little bit before the show. That it came down to me last week. We were talking about Molinari, Phil, and Fleetwood. And I said I was going to make my decision on which one of those 3 I was going with towards when I released my cheat sheet on Wednesdays. And I ended up going with Phil. Do you know why? Because I flipped a coin between Molinari and Phil, and it came up Phil, so I bet on Phil. So you need to do is pay attention to the guy that I talk up, that I don't back.
That is the key. Even going back to Ricky in Phoenix.
Xander at Tournament of Champions.
This is not your first ride having this torture.
You know who has been pretty good at picking the winners? Eric Patterson, EPAT. Back-to-back. Keith Mitchell, Francesco Molinari, and then re-upped on Molinari live on Sunday. That's pretty key. You got him too.
Little 50-1 action, even a re-up on a 28.
It's pretty good.
It was very handy. Not earlier in the tournament than Sunday, though.
Oh, really?
I owe that to a buddy of mine because I was out in Zona and I couldn't access the books, and he was just like watching golf and messaging me. And Molinari was like 4 or 5 under, like on, I don't know, and they still had him at a 50. And I'm like, you know what? Throw some of that on for this guy. So it was a good find, and I got to listen, and I bought internet on my plane home to sweat that out. And
how bad is playing internet, by the way?
It's bad, but I just took in the radio feed for the entire
30
flight.
Bucks?
No, 19.
Oh, you see, I went to LA like 2 weeks ago. It was like $30.
Well, it's like a 2-hour longer flight.
They charge you per hour?
Maybe
that's how that works?
I think they consider how long the flight is when they give you the full flight offer.
Here's a tip to the airlines. They gouge you on everything. They gouge you on, the extra baggage. You can charge $150 for internet. If I'm on a plane for like 5 hours, I'm paying it.
Yeah, it's sort of like what I say how, with Sunday Ticket. They find a price point that they think a lot of people will come to the consensus to think that's fair, even if it's a little expensive. They don't realize there's idiots like me. I'd pay like $200 a game. Like what I would do if I couldn't like see the game I needed to see. Plain internet. I don't know. Got the radio feed. Hearing that Molinari roll on 18 was as good as it looked probably in real life.
Oh, did you not see the clip?
I did see the clip, and you get a lot better post-round interviews on the radio feed.
The radio feed is actually much better to listen to. Like, it's not bad to even just have it like on the screen, like on the TV, watching it without sound and just listening to the radio.
Yeah, you get more shots, I feel. I think they're better on timing, but also you just get whoever's doing the post-round, you just get way better post-round
You also don't get like 15 minutes dedicated to Sam Saunders interviews. Well, I'm waiting to see if Rafa can get this on in 2, being like, maybe he's got a shot. Maybe he can come back and do this. It's like, no, let's talk to fucking Sam Saunders for 15 minutes.
The Sam Saunders coverage is a little excessive. It's a little excessive.
It would be different if Sam Saunders was Tiger Woods. You know what I mean? He wasn't just some grinder on tour. Like, what is he going to start standing at 18, shaking everyone's hand when they're coming off?
I get the obvious, part of weaving him into the broadcast, the obvious story, and he should get his obligatory, handful of shots shown. And I think it helps.
Should he? Do we need to see Sam Saunders
Just the
shots?
story. I don't know. He was playing with Rafa on Friday, so that got him like even more because Rafa started on Friday in the lead, and they were out in the same group. But
And they were in the afternoon when the coverage was actually.
It was constant. It was constant. It was a little too much.
All right, we got some winners here. So a lot of people actually backed that Molinari play. I wasn't one of them.
Oh yeah, because you brought it up how great the irons were in Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
He just missed.
Oh, no, I remember the reasons. I remember all the reasons, Jeff.
There was a lot of great cases to make that it was happening.
Instead, I bet Jason Day. Not smart. We'll get to that in a second. The big winner of the week. Okay, so listen to this story. I failed to mention this 2 weeks ago. So a viewer, Brandon Deary of the Dogger Pass podcast, which is my Thursday show with Paul and Cody, sneakily the most profitable show on the Pat Mayo Experience feed is the UFC betting and DraftKings. They're so good at it. And it's almost like it was when we started at Fantasy Network.
How obnoxious seeing how much money Cody would win on UFC parlays every weekend.
He's still doing that. But like when I first started getting into DraftKings golf, I really dominated. I was like the one of 8 people on earth who knew who everyone in the field was. Now everyone knows. Now people are really good at DraftKings golf.
It was like you, Jeff, and Zach.
It's a soft market. It was a soft market 4.5 years ago. UFC is still a soft market. Like, people just enter lineups, have no idea what they're doing. They just want to, they ordered the pay-per-view, they're going to throw in a lineup. Sure. Cody and Paul got it on lockdown. So Brandon won $61K off Paul and Cody's picks by entering $227. That was 2 weeks ago. Last week, his wife decided to get in on the action, invested $17 into PGA this week.
Where's this going?
$140K.
$17?
That's a happy Hanukkah for them this year. Pay off your house, why don't you?
That's, oh my God. Soft market.
Apparently golf. No, this was in golf this week. $17 in, came third in the drive for the green. So viewers of the Pat Mayo Experience, Fantasy National members, having a good week. We also got 4-figure wins from JPC 1214, Dan White, Marty Kearns, Dolomike, who's on like a legit heater right now. I think he's come up in the 4-figure wins or more, like 3 weeks in a row. Lewis Donner, Kaz Newman, what treatment? All caps. That's a Twitter handle who won a bunch of money. Anthony Oler and Justin LC01, all 4-figure wins. Again, shout out to EP. And the big one for him, Brad McAllister, Atlantic Canada's own from New Brunswick. I'm a Nova Scotia guy. He's a New Brunswick guy. We stick together out east. He put in $85 this week, won the Pat Mayo Experience Open, and cashed out $5,110, and that's American. And the dollar right now is at $1.34. So, and there's no taxes when you win in Canada either. So that's big money. Congratulations to all of them winners. If you want to become a member at fantasynational.com, I highly recommend you do so. And if you really want to get into how to use all the tools, when I did my walkthrough and how I researched, I just used Fantasy National a lot because that's what I use to do my research. And they're not going to say you're going to guaranteed to win if you follow what I do. In fact, if you follow what I do all the time, you might end up losing. But it'll teach you how to use the tool so you can better improve on my process if you want to. Let's talk a little bit more about Bay Hill. Molinari, you think he's going back to back?
That would be hard, but he
loves
could do
the
it.
scores.
He could do it.
And Rory can't close. Can't close Rory. Do you think we're going to see, because he keeps playing really well, are we going to get some sort of drift on his number for the Masters? Because I really think he might win the Masters.
Yeah, it all sort of feels that way. Every part of it. But like I said, not being able to watch yesterday, just seeing the scores, I knew exactly the face he was making. Like, we've seen it before. He looks at that cup like bewildered, I think, as Wiley put it. Rory face. Rory sat like that cup owes him something.
Oh, I got a bone to pick with you. I forgot about that.
Listen, my memory's not great. I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I do now, but when I said it or when it was being accoladed to me, I had no idea that it wasn't mine.
The French accents are my thing, right? I even project them onto Julien Etienne, who's Argentinian, not French. How dare you, sir? Stealing my bit.
It's not even a bit. I didn't even know it existed.
I'm going to be like Mo, and you're going to be like the original alfalfa. You stealing my bit?
I didn't even know it existed. He brought it up. I'm like, yeah.
I knew it existed because it's my bit. Stealing my bit. How dare you?
Here we are.
And for the record, it's not Dubuisson. It's pronounced Victor Dubuisson.
Okay.
That's how it's pronounced.
Well, he withdrew
He
also.
did, yeah. Thank God I didn't bet on him this week, too. I could have had the WD double. Would have been fantastic.
Mullen, quickly. I still feel, I mean, speaking of Rory, I still have scar tissue from his equipment change.
Why? Everyone else who changes equipment wins.
That's my point.
Well, he's come what top? Did he end up coming top 5? No, he came 8th,
No,
I think.
now he's good, but I'm talking about his like years of like.
Yeah, well, he also switched to like Nike, which didn't make clubs at the time.
Yeah, he wasn't Tiger, and even Phil acknowledged like how amazing it was, how good Tiger was playing with that inferior equipment.
Yeah.
But it just seems like whether it's the technology, and granted, well, he wasn't officially signed with Callaway. Apparently, Chesko was playing the club since the Tournament of Champions. Did put the new irons in the bag, I want to say, in Mexico. But these guys, they bang it on. From Rose to Ricky's ball, it's another fresh equipment change win.
Another fresh equipment change win. Keith Mitchell switched putters.
Yeah.
And he ended up winning. Do you know who had the same putter as Keith Mitchell last week? And
Luke List.
And gained strokes putting this week with his T10. Luke List.
Also,
it's all coming up List.
Out of nowhere, just on TV, I saw that Patrick Reed's putting with a Srixon ball.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is Bubba wavering between playing the colored ball and the white ball now?
I don't know what he decides in the morning that he's going to play. I have no idea.
Shout out to Cust this week because he got one right.
What did he get right?
Well, after Molinari posted at 12 under, he said that Molinari was going to win up by 3 strokes.
What was the live number on Molinari when he hit that putt?
I believe it was minus 800.
Yeah.
So he picked Stenson, he picked Bubba, then he picked Fitzpatrick, and then he finally landed on Molinari, and Molinari won.
He probably wins at 11, but that 12 put the fear of God in everyone behind him.
I think it really, because I thought, I mean, you and I both had money on Rafa, and shout out to Matt Wallace for missing that 2-foot putt on 18, so we got the full each way on Rafa. That was nice, but I think it really influenced his shot in 18.
Yeah, of course it did.
So he had to jar it in order to get to the playoff, and he went for it.
Yeah.
Good on him.
What else are you going to do?
He's not taking that angle if he only needs to make birdie. He'll put it to 15 feet.
I mean, one guy made birdie on 17 all day, and it was a 60-foot CH3 roll. Carlos Ortiz put it closest to the pin, and he missed the putt. It was like 8 or 10 feet.
Did you? I know we were tracking, like, you know, we're talking about strokes gained approach and all this stuff. Did you see how Aaron Badley was actually that high on the leaderboard? Do you see what his numbers were? Through 3 rounds, he had gained over 10 strokes around the green. The guy just kept chipping in.
He was 25 of like 31 scrambling.
Well, a lot of times he didn't even have to
If
scramble.
Rafa could have had Badley's bunker game on Friday.
Yeah, Friday just sunk him.
He just
65-75 is not how you want to open.
And then even that ugly List finish. I know we can lament about the things that bothered us, but there was also a big story.
Jason Day?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Day stuff, I wrote about it, and I feel like my thoughts are well articulated in there. I spent some time writing that. Instead of just talking to Dragon Dictation and writing my columns that way. I thought about it. I rewrote it. I really wanted to articulate the point that, and listen, I can't even imagine what Jason Day's like social feeds look like. Did you know someone sent me an email this week? I don't really want to explicitly say what it was, but it involved my child and my wife and how I told them to pick Jason Day. I tried to reverse engineer. It's like a dummy email account. I didn't enjoy that.
Oh, that bothers me so much.
They were not nice things. In fact, they were rather violent.
Oh, I could cry. That bothers me so much.
The thing is, listen, it's not going to bother. I've had someone write over 5,000 words on how they're going to murder me in my sleep because I gave them bad start-sit advice in football. Like, I assume it's 14-year-olds or just people with like who are severely deranged. But imagine what like Jason Day is going through right now with people who lost $20 on him. Like, here's the thing. And I saw the big thing I want to point is that people are now like clamoring for an injury report in the PGA. You don't want that. No one wants that.
Yeah, no, it's the worst.
Like, what are we supposed to, like, as I wrote up, like, what if Jordan Spieth says, oh yeah, my wrist kind of hurts? What's that going to do? I'm sorry for.
No, that's just so upsetting.
It wasn't great. I've moved on from it now. I'm sorry for springing that in, live on the show.
No, I don't know. I thought you would have maybe told me that off the air.
No,
that just really bothers me. People are. people really embarrass themselves on Twitter, so I can't imagine
What they do in the-
what they were doing in like a personal exchange with anybody. What a pathetic. I'm with you. Jason Day owed nobody anything.
Now, and the people that seem to have the biggest problem with it are people that play are mainly DraftKings players, but people that play like NBA and NFL and MLB. Golf isn't those sports. There's no CBA on the PGA Tour. The players don't have to disclose what they're doing. It would have been nice if someone, who's a reporter on the ground said, "Hey, yeah, Jason Day went for an MRI," but he doesn't need to tell us.
Yeah, that was the weird part, right? How no one
It's
had
because
the
it was
story,
Jason Day. If it was anyone else, they would have
but
reported
not
it.
on the grounds.
No, but it's not that. It's the fact that it's Jason Day. We've been through this with Jason Day, 17 times? And he generally comes out and wins the weeks that this happens.
no, there've been-
So people thought it was a non-story. It was the wrong person for this to happen to. And listen, I bet Day last week. He was my one and done last week, although that turned into Ann, so I ended up winning in one and done. We'll get
And
to that.
Ann, because his last letter is A. Just how I like Albertson is usually mine or something. Because I don't give a crap about that stupid thing.
So that worked
Now
out.
that I know the new rule, I'll actually.
That worked out for me. And I had 70% of my DraftKings lines with Jason Day. He cost me big time. I lost a lot of money on Jason Day. Shit happens. If you're playing on DraftKings, shit happens. If you're gambling, shit happens. Yeah. Fucking deal with it and stop being so fucking soft.
I mean, you make an outright bet on anybody, let alone a class player like Jason Day. It's got a 98% chance of losing the moment you make it. Most of them 99.9% chance of losing the moment you make it.
You made the really good point is, what's the difference between what Jason Day did and when catching a bad Siwoo week when he shoots 80 over?
Or even Luke List, who did, just misses. Once you miss like that each way, or if you're not betting it top 10, it's the same thing. Or when I don't even bet in each way, coming in second to me is the same thing as missing the cut come Sunday night when my account doesn't have any more money in it. So yeah, the outright bettor, obviously, I think handled it a lot clearer. It was some DFS weirdos, that lost their minds. I don't think I'm with you. I don't think you need to know. I think it'll drive you nuts to have an injury
That's
report.
the whole thing. Listen, if an injury report was accurate and it was meaningful, then I'm all for it. But it's not. Yeah. And even with Jason Day, if Jason Day was, let's say, Nate Lashley. He missed the cut. Poor Nate Lashley. Well, let's say it's him, and he needs money and FedEx Cup points to get his tour card for next year. He's not Jason Day, who's won $44 million in his career. Maybe he guts it out. Jason Day doesn't need to. He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Guy's rich.
I mean,
he's in all the majors. He has his tour card for life. Why would he try to put himself at any extra pain or potentially injure himself and go withdraw? And people are they saw him at Disneyland or Disney World the next day with his kids. It's also not the same thing as swinging a fucking golf club either.
I found great humor in that. I posted it. The humor level in that couldn't have been better. And then at least people had the class to crop out his kids in the the automated we're on a ride picture.
I'm sure whoever released the picture did, but I bet you people had tough words for his kids.
I'm certain of that.
But here's the thing. Imagine losing your mind. If you lose, let's say you put $100 on Jason Day or on your DraftKings lamps or whatever, and you're losing your mind about it. Stop playing DraftKings. Stop betting. If $100 means that much to you, fucking stop. You have a problem. You can't afford to be betting that money. If you can't have fun losing the money playing the stuff, you're out of your element. That's the fun of this. It's for entertainment purposes. You're not a professional gambler. You're not going to get rich by betting on golf. Maybe you hit a big one on DK, and that's awesome. If that's what you expect to happen, you're a fucking loser. That's not what happens.
Tim's expecting to win the
millionaire. Tim said he's expecting to win the millionaire. I already told Davis this week that I expect to come first and win the $250,000 in the Players one. It's not going to happen. If it does happen, it's a 0.0000001% chance because I'm going to enter 10 lineups.
The other part of this is a lot of the information is available. Now, to us, it's harder to get, but there's a tee sheet for pro-ams. Even to play a practice round, guess what? These guys just can't walk to the first tee and see if it's clear. They sign up to play a practice round, to play 9 holes. They sign up like you do to play on Golf Now. There is a sign up. So I don't know, should that be available? Should we be able to see that? I don't know, but the information is it's out there. One thing I kind of caught myself wondering is, like, even the Australian golf blogosphere, maybe, and not to say it would have come into our vortex, or maybe it would, because people are always sort of throwing things our way. Did we see it? But I know for certain, like here in Canada, if Graham Dillette was healthy, and he was like that type of golfer, not even like a 14-1 golfer, like 60-1 Graham Dillette when he was like healthy, or 8, whatever you want to, we would know that he was gone all week.
Yes. Like
in Canada, like in the little Golf Canada circles of things, the Bob Weeks is
we may know, but I also mute all those people because I just think that they're complete farces.
Okay, fine, but so I'm just
I saw Roger Sloan is putting the lights out. It's like, we expect this to continue. It's like, why would you expect the hot putter to continue for a guy who's bad at putting? It doesn't make any sense. And of course, Roger Sloan did not have a good weekend because those people don't know what they're talking about.
So
anyway, that's the whole day thing with me. Just get over it. And if you don't like it, don't play. Obviously, you've never bet on tennis before.
On the flip side, I don't think they need to disclose anything officially as a tour, or if a guy wants to say something, that's fine.
Go ahead.
I do like Kisner. You don't need to I get it, because they probably see the private messages also when they shoot a 5-over round. So they see the really ugly side of DFS.
Yeah, Kisner's comments, if people didn't see, he was like, we don't give a shit about DFS people. But the funny thing is Kevin Kisner, very sneakily, big fan of DFS and helping out people in the community, so he gets it.
Yeah, he totally gets it.
But I also agree with his statement. It's not on them to win you your DraftKings.
Absolutely not.
Unlike all the other sports, and this is what it really boils down to when people try to apply football logic to it and basketball logic, these guys don't have to be there. They don't have to play. They're not obligated to play. It's not a team sport. They're not under contract. They have chosen to show up, and if they don't win, they don't get paid. It's a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm certain that DFS has grown the game more than the tour's phony efforts. Both tours.
Absolutely. And listen, that's something. That's something else I wrote about in my column this week, is how DraftKings, in particular, the growth of DraftKings golf, and now that gambling is becoming legalized, on a very slow scale, state by state by state. That's the vertical the PGA needs to go after if they want to grow the game. It's not the new rules. It's not the first tee program. No one gives a shit about that stuff. People are now interested in it because they can get action down on it.
And did you see, even I think before the day thing happened, it was a bit of a topic of conversation, and Ernie Els, someone was asked about it, and he goes, if you saw my first hole at the Masters a couple years ago, you'd have thought I had a bazillion quid on the other guy. So it's golf. It's a crazy game. It's a crazy game. I don't think they need to change a thing. I mean, maybe make a.
Okay, put it this way. Let's say they released hey, this guy withdrew from the Pro-Am, this guy didn't play in the Pro-Am, but there was no reason given. They just didn't play. How is that helpful?
It's not.
That's my whole point. I don't understand how any of this is helpful. If anything, golf prognostication is tough enough to begin with because so many of the stats are fickle, the samples are so small, and a lot of it is noise.
And
this is just pure noise. Because let's say that we got the accurate reporting on Jason Day this week. And it came out on Monday. Jason Day had an MRI on his back. Jason Day is expected to tee off, which he did on Thursday morning. Would that have changed anything? Some people would have got on Jason Day because he always plays well when he's injured.
Yeah, or just to think if anyone's great fade, reverse fade. Yeah, no, you're 100% right in that perspective. I don't think they need to do a thing. Like you said, it's hard enough. The variance of picking the winners or guessing it. Bottom line, whether it was a DraftKings lineup or a bet, you want either of them involves stepping into a hornet's nest. And sometimes you're going to get stung. That's just what it is. And if you don't have the wherewithal to know that, then shame on you.
Ask anyone who took Daniel Berger at the WGC a few years ago when he went and hit his tee shot to collect his paycheck and walked off the course. Or Jim Furyk at the Tour Championship 2 years ago. This stuff happens 3 or 4 times a year.
No.
It doesn't happen often, and most people aren't affected by it. But when it happens to you, it sucks. I understand how much it sucks. I don't want to overlook that fact. It fucking sucks. but it happens. And if you don't get over it, or you can't get over it, maybe try something else as a hobby.
And there's some people that had Bryson Day head-to-heads that, I mean, Bryson had to play 7 holes and he wins.
Yeah, he just has to finish his round and he's good to go. All right, let's get to the players. This is what we're here for.
I love this board.
The Players Championship at TPC Sawgrass, back in March for the first time since 2006. How will this affect the course? Well, it's a lot softer than normal right now because there's been a lot of rain down in that area of Florida. And the winds come from different directions. I don't know how to correlate that properly, so I'm just not really going to pay much mind to it. But it did play harder historically from 1995 to 2006. Those numbers are in my column as well than they did from 2007 to last year. But players are also a lot better now. Like the middle and back end of the players' field is substantially higher in talent than it was in 2005. So that could be a reason why the scores are better. It's not a long course. It's a Pete Dye design, par 72. You can get eagles on all 4 of the par 5s. It's a lot of swings that can happen. The number 12 hole is another one that you can actually get to and make eagle on if you hit just precisely the right shot. They're still tinkering around with that hole. They redesigned it 2 years ago. It's still not quite there yet. Everyone knows about 17. I got some good strategy for 17. People like to overanalyze 17. Here's a quick tip. Don't hit it in the water. If you don't hit it in the water, you're probably going to be fine. It's not that hard of a hole.
Simple.
Yeah. So this is a really weird situation for me because the Players calls itself the 5th major. And like I mentioned, like took out my calculator. There's only 4
Self-proclaimed nicknames are never a good
There's
sign.
only 4 majors. I'm looking very much forward to the 32nd major, the Valero Texas Open in 3 weeks. That's going to be fantastic. Like if the Players just admitted what it was, I think I would like it more because it's great to watch. It's one of the best broadcast golf events of the year between Golf Channel and NBC where they work together. They show feeds all day long. They have all the exclusive rights. This is essentially the best version of a professional sports all-star game.
Yeah, that's well said. I almost, with all this Phil stuff, I compared it to like people bullying, like Phil originally, was like very coy that he wasn't going to play. And apparently there was some internal PGA pressure and some outside pressure. So it got him to go there and practice. I was like, why? Like, what does it matter? To me, it's like no different than any player being like, I'm taking off All-Star Weekend. Like, it's literally how I saw it. So I couldn't really figure out the big deal about it. And we'll probably get more into Phil later. It's just another tournament. I try to avoid. I don't care for the hype of it because I'm with you. Like I personally will enjoy match play far more.
See, you know how much I hate match play. Despite being a big winner at match play last year, it's insufferable to watch. This is actually a fun tournament to watch because the course is so weird and gimmicky that there's massive swings on the leaderboard at any moment. Like guys can go out and post rounds at Sawgrass, or they can blow up. Like there's no real rhyme or reason year after year to this course. It's just strange.
And before we like really break it down, because I'd mentioned to you off air, I love this odds board. Now I can't tell you. Well, I'll try to guess who's going to win, but I don't have any inside information. On that. But I love just seeing that there's only 3 guys like under 20, and it just feels. Well, like there's some fun opportunities.
But before we actually get into the actual odds, the one thing that I had to stop myself from doing is seeing these numbers next to these guys that are double or triple that we're used to seeing from all the events so far this year and not wanting to bet them all.
Yeah, of course.
I see Tony Finau at 60-1. I'm like, Tony Finau was 20-1.
He's finally
like
breaking.
3 weeks ago.
He's finally
does that mean I like Tony Finau more? It's like, well, if I don't think he's going to win, 60-1 is not a good bet.
It's always, if I don't think he's going to win,
you know what I mean?
You can't make the bet at 100%. But
there's a lot of guys like that this week. Like even to see Patrick Reed down at 60 or Webb Simpson, the defending champ, at 50. He was 20-1 at Honda 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So there's value on this board if you can find it. So I think that's what you like about it, right?
Yeah, just the fact that, I mean, when we see like tournaments and there's like 5 or 6 guys under 20-1, like it just feels like gross because it's so hard to pick who's going to win anyway. And is it because historically the Players is such a crapshoot? Like we won't see these type of odds at the Masters.
No, I think it is
like
it's a
other
crapshoot.
big events where everyone is there. We don't see odds boards that look like this one.
It's weird because the Masters actually makes sense for the odds that it delivers because the field is so small.
Absolutely.
But you get the same odds at the U.S. Open, which has 156 players in it, not 85.
So maybe the Masters is a bad comparison, but any big event where there's so many, pretty much every elite player shows up, You don't see odds boards like this. Like even take WGCs.
Yeah.
Like there's 6 guys under 20 to 1. There's sometimes 2 guys flirting under 10 to 1. And there are some guys with good course history here, but even it's so diabolical, you can't even bank on it.
No, the only guy that typically plays well year after year after year at the Players is Adam Scott. That's basically it.
Okay, yeah.
And Sergio is another one. But like even Molinari, who won last week, he's gonna be super popular on DraftKings this week. People are gonna bet him
Because the pricing was out.
Yeah, but
before.
I think he's 8,600. But like before last year, he had 3 consecutive top 10s at the Players, and everyone was on him last year. And what did he do last year? He missed the cut. And then he went on to win like 5 tournaments.
And last year, the names that missed the cut, I want to say Fowler missed the cut, Thomas missed the cut.
Thomas didn't. Thomas has never missed a cut here.
It was a consortium of
big name guys,
of these big name guys that missed it. And Dustin finally had his first decent players last year.
T17.
He never, for a guy that lives in Florida, like he never plays.
He's never had a top 10 here.
And he's a Carolina coastal guy, so it's a lot of similar things you could find. I don't know. Nothing seems to work for him here, it seems.
So the field possesses 144 players, top 70 and ties will make the cut, and Jeff and I will be broadcasting that live. What PGA with the tour will not be showing you is the players that we're going to be talking about. The guys right on the fringe of that cut line. The cut line wavers a lot this tournament year to year. Like some years it's 3 over par, other years it's 2 under par. So we'll have to really lock down and try to figure that out and see how it's going on Friday afternoon. What time do you think we should go on? We'll judge it on Thursday.
Yeah, we're
bad at this.
I just told my wife
3
not to expect me for dinner.
Yeah. We'll probably we'll go like 4 to 6:30 or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what the cut will be. Stats: par 4 scoring, par 5 scoring, strokes gained approach. Webb Simpson was 96th in the field. Strokes gained approach last year. He became the first player to lose strokes on approach and win a PGA tournament. And I can't remember how long. Like that is such an odd outlier. And if you go back and look at the past champions, it's like top 5. There has been a trend down in approach because Siwoo was like 16th the year he won, but he was also really high up and around the green and really high up and off the tee. But approach and around the green are the 2 strokes gained that I'm looking for. And you hope to catch a hot putter. Like last week with Molinari, he gained almost 7 strokes putting, most of those coming in the final round. You know who's not typically a very good putter? Francesco Molinari. But here he is making putts. Anyone can make a few putts.
Webb Simpson, at least before.
He had a good year putting last year, but he gained almost.
Siwoo Kim.
Yeah.
Martin Keimer.
It happens. So, you want to go to the top of the board?
Let's do it.
All right. Dustin Johnson, owner of 0 top 10s at this event, is the favorite. He is 12 to 1, tied with Rory, who's coming in hot fire right now. He's also 12. Justin Thomas, 16 to 1. Fowler, Rose, 20. Koepka, Molinari, 22. Rahm, 25. Bryson and Tiger and Tommy and Xander, all 28 to 1. Let's start with Tiger Woods. Neck injury for Tiger. Withdrew last week. It does. We haven't got the reporting on it yet, but
he's on the grounds.
It does look like he's going to play. We talked about it last week on the show. What would Tiger's odds be for this event after the withdrawal? I said they'd be 20 to 1. They're 28 to 1. I kind of really like that number because he rates out perfectly for this course. He even played well last year here until he put it on the water in 17.
Last year, the Players, granted it was later in the year, was the first bet I made on Tiger to win a tournament. So he has a great history here. He's won here as an amateur, as a pro. It works for the game. It suits his almost newer game more.
Agreed.
As well. It's a number a week ago, 2 weeks ago, be salivating for people who I highly respect before the news came out, who had early tipped articles, had him at the 14 or 12 or 16, whatever it was.
I wonder if this has already been bet down since we've been talking, because people are going to see that number and bet it. If they know Tiger's like, okay, which we don't, but if people see him out there, they're going to bet it, right?
That's potential. I just wonder, is Tiger like committed to going like full bear, or is now everything back to like harnessing something?
Well, it sounds like you can't make heads or tails of an injury report, Jeff.
Thank you.
Imagine if Tiger WDs after one hole. I kind of want it to happen now. Just to see people piss their pants.
I mean, we'll get there. I'm intrigued by Tiger and Day's day's odds.
We'll get to Day in a sec because he's deep down this list.
But going closer to the top, no one really interests me at all. I mean,
Strangely, Molinari is the one who interests me. And 22-1 is a pretty good number, but I think I'd rather take my stabs in the middle range, honestly. Like I don't have anyone on my card yet below 30-1. I don't have any of these guys.
I'm with you. There are a couple I am thinking about. Of the top, yeah, I mean, Bryson at 28 is always attractive, but I've been through that torture chamber in Mexico and at Bay Hill, so I don't know. I'll be nauseous if he pulls it off, but it just seems like something is wrong in the pendulum of Bryson at the moment.
He needs to reset the computer.
And once
Unplug himself, plug it back in. He'll
if
be
I
fine.
could see any signs of that happening, I'll be quickly to jump back on. Crazy enough, even though Fleetwood. I mean, it sucks that I might have to play him at the same number as guys he's clearly not as naturally talented as, but he is on to something, and he unfortunately got into the beast. That the timing of that Saturday round, it was ugly, and he wasn't able to like really hold on.
And he had to play with Keegan.
Keegan's juju. I knew before the first hole Keegan's bad juju was gonna ruin Tommy. Ugh. Now it's just a thing with Tommy. Like he can't. There's always a real ugly one in there, but they got the nastiest of them. They got a U.S. Open afternoon.
Yeah, the final.
It was tough Sunday, but they
got
it.
The final five. Ugh. The final five groups on Saturday all played over par.
They got crushed.
You know who Tommy's turning into, by the way? He's British Ricky Fowler.
Maybe.
Is he? What do we penalize Ricky for the past 2 years? Playing 3 great rounds and having one horrible round. And that's what Tommy's doing. That's what he does every single week. And when he puts it together, he's going to win, and it's going to happen. But you just keep going through the ringer with him week after week. Oh, do you know who Tim's pick is to win the Players? His one and done?
Rory.
So keep that in the back of your mind.
I'd
be very upset if Rory won this and didn't win the Masters. You know he wants the Masters. Yeah, I don't really think he cares about the Players.
Well, of course he wants the Masters. I thought his press conference, the quotes and video I saw from Wednesday were absolutely fantastic. And it makes perfect sense. Like he is now getting more comfortable with the Grand Slam pressure. Not to say it's like gone.
Well, he's had like 7 shots at it now.
4. He's just more comfortable, like prepared for that.
It's also less of a story now too. Like it was such a big deal the first and second time that he had the chance, and he's been in contention a few times too. Now
last year final group.
Now crank it up on Sunday, maybe the pressure comes back to you, but I don't know, it feels like not necessarily a non-story at this point, but it's not something people are talking about going in, unless he continues to churn out top fives.
I disagree, because from what I saw, he was pretty much his entire Bay Hill press conference was Masters and Grand Slam questions.
Really?
So I think it is being, and because he's playing so well now, that it's like starting to really actually ramp up. That's my opinion of it.
So for me, just to cross the guys off at the bottom, I mean, not to say that they can't win. They're obviously the favorites to win. Dustin just hasn't done it here before. If Dustin Johnson wins, I'm not going to be super stunned. He's Dustin Johnson. But 12-1, not for me. Rory, very Andrew cursed. The guy can't close right now. I think if I'm going to lay a 12-1 number, it's going to be at the Masters, not here for Rory.
Yeah, fair.
Justin Thomas at 16, sneakily. I went back and looked at it. Do you know Justin Thomas has lost strokes on approach once in the past 52 weeks?
Incredible.
Now, it happened last week, or his last event at the Honda, and the week before that, he actually lost in 3 of the 4 rounds at WGC Mexico. Something going on with JT's irons right now. Very atypical of him. He might be able to swing it back the other way, because clearly he rates out statistically the best of any player in this field for this course. But I don't know if the irons are off. It's a lot of water balls. A lot of water. 88 bunkers, 19 water traps. So, no, I'm pensive with Justin Thomas. I really want to kind of go all in on him, and I started digging into it a little bit and be like, not sure.
There's nothing under 20-1 I would consider.
Fowler Rose at 20. You in or out? Rose was bad on the weekend, by the way.
Of all these guys like under 25,
you love Ricky.
Fowler and Molinari would be the guys that I would look at.
I think if we're talking about the 25, 25-1 and under, I think my 2 favorites would be Molinari and Brooks.
Okay, that's fair. Brooks and And Fowler,
This is where Brooks came back last year too. He played the Zurich,
Yes.
he played the Zurich, the team event, then he played this. Made that albatross in the final round.
people were making their first U.S. Open bets off.
Yeah, Brooks
off
is
this
back.
Great,
And boy, were they right.
yeah, that's fair.
So, and then you got that Xander, Tommy, Tiger, Bryson range at 28. Tiger is the one who intrigues me the most. I might make that a play. I haven't yet, but I want to figure out what I want to do with the rest of my card because I have a few bets in already and I have to work around those now that those wagers are in. But there's room for Tiger, for sure. And you know that I want to be there when Tiger wins the Players. Imagine not betting Tiger at the Players and him winning, Jeff. How awful would that be?
I was happy I was with him for the Tour Championship.
I didn't get him at the Tour Championship.
Yeah, no, 28-1. It seems like an obvious bet. Like last week,
Last week we would have salivated at the chance to bet him 28-1, but now that he has the Roxbury injury.
Last week
we
before
can't
the
have it.
injury, he was 12, and I was like, oh, if that was like a 16 or 18, like I'm pretty sure I would want that for Tiger at Bay Hill. So yeah, I don't think I can take a. There's a good chance I'm gonna have one of the two.
Molinari or Ricky?
No, Tiger or Jason. Like one of the two guys with the bump,
injury guys?
Yeah, one of the bumped up injury guys.
So for everyone, Tiger is coming in with an injury. Jason Day obviously coming in with an injury. Taylor Gooch is coming in with an injury. There's a bunch of guys that just straight up aren't playing, like Kevin Chappell and William McGirt and Sean O'Hare. They're just hurt. James Hahn is another one in that group. They're already been ruled out. The other one is Phil Mickelson, who's in this next range. Phil comes in, was he 55-1, 60-1? Where's Phil at here? Silly Phil. He might not play. I think he's going to play.
No, he's playing. He's 66. And
He's
the fact that he's there, he seems like he's been bullied into playing.
He knows this is not a good course for him. I liked his comments being like, yeah, I'm only going to go to courses where I think I can win. I don't think I can win at Sawgrass.
That's all you have. He doesn't have to play for anyone but himself.
Do we play head-to-heads against
Phil? And what's
Phil
in
if
his
he
best
plays?
interest? You should consider it because feels like he's the defeated golfer, like mentally. He's already making jokes like, well, I won. Last time I missed the cut, I won the next week, which is like, I want to miss the cut this week. So what would be his next one? The WGC?
He doesn't normally play the match play. He usually takes a
So the Masters? No.
He'll play the week before the Masters. He'll play Texas Open.
Okay. So I don't know who we might be matched up with, but yeah, if you get like a Reed or a Kuchar versus a Phil or something.
That's what I'm thinking. Or even Louis or Cam Smith versus Phil. Although Cam Smith has never been
like,
cut.
I don't know, Woodland versus Phil.
Don't mind that. The entire range, it starts with Sergio Garcia at 33-1. Then it's Adam Scott at 35, Day Hideki at 40, Cantlay at 45, Casey at 50, Webb at 50, Stenson, Leishman, Woodland, Rafa, Poulter, Spieth at 55-1. I have 3 bets in this range. It's funny, we talked about it last week, how we were talking about, hey, does anyone from like 30 to 60 ever win? And then Molinari pops off at 35. I bet on Sergio. Sergio right now has the form that he did in his lead into his Masters win 2 years ago. He is ball striking at a very elite level. In the past 3 tournaments that he's played, Riviera, Honda, in WGC Mexico, he's been inside the top 10 in strokes gained approach for those weeks. Guess what it is with Sergio, if you had to guess?
Well, it's pretty much everyone will be putting.
Yeah, can't putt. He has a great track record at this event. He's one of the, I think, 21 players in this field that have actually played this tournament in March before. He's won this event. He has a second at this event. He has a third at this event. I think that if you're looking for corollaries, obviously looking back at course history at this course, I think that looking at Harbour Town is something to look at because that's played, in just the middle of April. It's a bit colder on the coast. Another Pete Dye design, very small greens. And I think looking back at Honda over the years is another way to play this because you get the same temperatures in Florida. It's not as hot as it would be in May. It's a bit chillier. You get to deal with those winds and the smaller greens, and Sergio plays well at that course as well. 33-1. I even took the each way on it. I never do the each ways on it, but they're offering top 6, so I was like, ooh, here we go.
So
Sergio at 33, I'm in. The next one, Hideki, I think we're both in. Team can't putt this week. Because I'll even throw it out. I'm betting Paul Casey at 52. And I'm betting Ian Poulter at 55. Those are my 4 guys.
I like a lot of what you're selling. Casey at 50 is really interesting. Sergio, if you want to stomach it, And I don't even think it's really stomaching it. He's been outstanding. I think I played him in Mexico and was disappointed he didn't go to the Honda.
He came who? Hideki?
Sergio.
Sergio played at the Honda. He just couldn't putt. He was fourth in the field.
I think I bet him there also. I'm pretty sure I did. So I bet him in Mexico. I bet him at the Honda. Sort of like Hideki. I've been waiting for that putting round.
Hideki lost almost 9 strokes putting last week.
There is a very nice corollary.
Look at those numbers on Hideki. Past 24, second tee to green, second ball striking, first in approach, 36 par 4, 29th birdies are gained better, top 20 off the tee, 133rd of 144 players in this field in putting. I know he's not a good putter.
But he's not that either.
He's not that.
Yeah.
So what are we doing?
Hideki's the obvious play out of everyone. He's the one I have the most confidence in of the guys you mentioned. And I don't know whether I'd be crazy to lean Casey over Poulter.
I just took them
There's
both.
something about Poulter that feels like he wants it too much.
Maybe he was second here 2 years ago. He was 11th here last year.
Always plays well here.
And he's played well at the Honda Classic over the years too in these colder conditions. Like the way that I look at the players is not always, but you typically see one of two types of players win. It's a young player who makes us a breakthrough victory to elevate to the next level, or it's like some old dude. Like I know Kuchar's old now, but when he won, he was old.
Yeah, and he's
like Stenson when he won was a bit older. Like Scott was a breakthrough when he won. Sergio was a breakthrough when he won. Ricky was a breakthrough. Tim Clark was a journeyman when he won. Stephen Ames was a journeyman when he won. Keimer was a bit of a journeyman. He had the major, but
he
was just
kind of like feeling not like old, like Kuchar old, but he was kind of
like
felt
33,
like
34, 35. Not
no. I think he works. I think he works in that assessment. My card, in my opinion, will be all like, for lack of a better term, guys that I see are like grinders.
So Hatton make your card?
No, I guess. Oh, jeez, he's like has that ultimate grinder label. But I just mean guys like your Sergios, like a Casey, guys that like grind their way to victory. Also last week, I want to say yes, Molinari went lights out, but that was probably designed to have like a 10 under winner. And it was, again, another amazing finish when you're in and around that finishing score. We always get the best ones.
We'll get to Day and Spieth in a second. There are 4 names here that I find very intriguing.
Cantlay
is one of them at 40
scramble
at 45 to 1. He's been much better scrambling. And he was the first round leader here last year too. So he's one of them. Stenson at 55 is another one who
got some life.
The irons got the groove back last week. 6.1 strokes gained on approach, and that's what we needed to see from him. And he's starting to do that again. You're getting a really good number on a guy who's played well here in the past. Kuchar at 60, who's just having an amazing year and has won here before. And who is the other one? Woodland at 55.
I could be into Woodland. Kuchar is very tempting as well, though.
But again, coastal course, small greens, shorter course. That's the Matt Kuchar.
Yeah.
That's the Matt Kuchar recipe.
But it's also, this course to me plays into what Woodland does very well too. Just sort of clubbing down fairways, greens, like your Sergio, like Hideki. You're gonna need the putting week. He's not a preeminent putter, but he's got a lot more confidence on the greens than we've seen in a long time.
Jason
Leishman doesn't like take.
No, not really here for me. I like Poulter better. I like Casey better, so I went with those two. And I think I can make a better case for Stenson to win than Leishman to win if I'm going to go head to head versus the two. So I'll have to figure that out. And if I have bet Tiger, I can't bet on any of those guys because all my money is now dried up in the overall equity that I want to have invested. But Jason Day at 40 to 1, man. Some people told me this back injury that he has is going to keep him out 6 months. It looks like he's going to play this week as of right now. What do you do with Jason Day at 40 to 1? It's such a big number.
If last week he was actually injured, but this week he's just Jason Day injured, then I want to almost play it. But I don't know. You can't bet Tiger and Day. You're asking for.
There's a DraftKings lineup for you. Start your team with Day and Tiger. No one else has the guts for that. And the other one
is so tempting because Day,
isn't it?
Day. Oh my God. If he showed like even not winning last week, but like was fine and he was like 22 to 1 this week, I'd probably really be considering it. Because of the elite players, his game, I feel like, can handle this place the best.
Yes, only because, I mean, that's why I think Justin Thomas really leaps out here too. The underrated sneaky part of this course is where the greens are so small. You need to have a good up and down game. And Jason Day from around the greens is immaculate. How do you think Siwoo ended up winning here? It's the touch around the greens. He's very good from greenside. So is Hideki. So is Poulter. So is Casey. There's a reason that I'm on these guys. Justin Thomas from the very top end is the best, but Day might be the best short game player on tour. And that gives him a significant advantage. And we know he can roll it once he gets it going. He's consistently been one of the best putters on tour. You just have to think that it's a great spot to leverage expectation. I don't necessarily know in the betting market if that's a way that you want to do it, because 40-1 is still, I mean, it's not a short number by any means. It's a big number for Jason Day, but it's still inside the top 20 of overall numbers. DraftKings wise is, I think, where Jason Day becomes super interesting. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. That's why people need to tune in on Tuesday. I'll ask Raza and I'll ask Rick, see if they have a better feel for it. But it's so scary to jump into that water with Jason Day based on doing it last week and seeing the results, that he just might go unowned. And I think that if he is going to go unowned, you don't need to commit all your lineups to it.
He's on the range today hitting balls.
Just see, he did that last week too. And I think people forget that he started last week. It's not like he withdrew 2 minutes before his round started. He played 6 holes. And he was like, screw it, I don't feel great.
Well, much like the Tiger line, I feel there's only one direction it can go.
First or last?
Especially like, no, I mean,
it only goes down.
If he shows up again at the course tomorrow and is on the range, he's probably down to like 30-1. Tiger, if he's on the range this afternoon, by the time this posted, it could be like 22-1.
I just checked 5 minutes ago. I checked 25 minutes ago and 5 minutes ago on Tiger. It has not moved yet.
Okay. He's been spotted on the grounds in that like big cat walk, backwards hat, shades.
Hitting on waitresses in the clubhouse.
I don't know if I don't know if Tiger's been on the course or the range yet, but that Jason Day number is very intriguing.
I'm not going to bet that number. I think that if I'm going to do anything, I'll make a few DraftKings lineups around Jason Day. And I'm not even committing to that yet, but I think that's a more sensible course of action because I can throw 20 lineups in. If I make 4 of them Jason Day lineups instead of making 16 of them Jason Day lineups, then I can get away from it pretty easily and cut my losses if he just doesn't have it and is still hurt.
Sticking in this range, 10 points shorter than last week, but off a great week. Raph, I feel like the course could suit as well.
Maybe. He's another one who had an albatross here like 2 years ago. I don't know. I feel like Rafa may have missed a shot. He had a shot at Pebble, couldn't come through. Had a shot last week, couldn't come through. And we're getting a worse number than we got last week at a course which is not as designed as well for his skill set as that one was in a much stronger field. So there's all those things to consider too. You seem like you're at a loss. You're going back to your boy, Matthew Fitzpatrick? I must say, there's no one more glad that didn't win than Matthew Fitzpatrick. I don't know if I could have handled that.
No, I wasn't on Matthew last week. I was very impressed that even almost through 14 holes, though, he hadn't made a bogey yesterday. And then he made one on 15, got it back on. He made the bogey on 15, had like the 12-foot eagle putt on 16 that he missed, and that was that. I don't know. Not for me, no.
Auto bet for me on Siwoo. Former winner here, 80-1. You know I'm in on that.
Yeah, that seems like a good, strong number. I don't really care about last. I mean, you just miscuts, they happen.
It's Siwoo Kim. What do you expect to happen? You expect him to contend or be the worst guy in the field?
He
put 5 balls in the water on Thursday.
Yeah, first or last.
But the guy, if you go to Fantasy National and you sort by just Pete Dye courses and look over the past 24 and 36 rounds, strokes gained total and strokes gained tee to green, you're going to see like Dustin Johnson and Siwoo Kim. They have a proclivity for these courses.
Yeah. Going higher, there's guys that actually
don't go above 100-1.
Then there's nothing really there unless bringing up Louis at 90.
Louis at 90 is one. He was one of those guys. He was one of those guys that was in the mix with the team No Putts a few years ago with Holmes and Keegan and Kyle Stanley on that Sunday, and they all just went away. The one I wanted to mention was Tony Finau, 60-1. When was the last time we saw that number for Tony? I know I alluded to it earlier, but It's not for me, but you could sell me on it pretty easily. Like, I'm not going to come to that conclusion myself that I should be betting Tony Finau. But if you really want to talk him up and make the case for him, I can get behind it.
I think Eric's on. I mean, he said he's got back-to-back winners.
He does have back-to-back winners. It's hard to have the turkey.
True. It's almost like I got to fade here.
I think in the 4 years that we've been doing the show, I don't think we've ever pulled off a turkey. Between us, we've pulled off a turkey.
And
But
no.
individually, we haven't done it. We've had 2 a bunch of times. But 3 in a row is tough, man. Like, I would
Didn't
much...
they hit like Willett and Grace back-to-back?
Yeah.
Is that back?
I was riding high. I'm telling you, man, I might just save all my money for the fucking Heritage. The Heritage has been very good to me. I hit Grace as an outright winner. I hit Wes Bryan as an in-game runner at like 50-1 the year before. And then I cleaned up last year with Kodaira.
Where were we? Finau, again, it like just feels nice to see his number getting ballooned.
If it came down to it, I'm not saying you have to play this like head-to-head, but they're both the same number. Finau 60 and Kuchar 60. Which one do you think would get your outright money? For me, the answer is Kuchar.
This course right now, Kuchar. I would, but I'm also tempted to put Woodland in that mix.
Yeah.
Because I'll be debating. I'll have a debate to make there.
When I did my write-up, and you can go check that out on dkplaybook.com. Link is in the description as well. Woodland was my last cut of the guys that I wrote
Woodland
up.
is another guy. Like, what was his number in Mexico or something? Like 25?
29.
Like, there's a guy that, yeah, no. I could really get excited. Because I actually believe he can win. I'm not just, to your point, you can like a number, but who gives a crap if you don't think the guy's going to win?
Yeah.
It was like that with, remember in like Sergio Riviera, because there was all that like anti-Sergio, I think, as he just
we ended up
beat up on the greens. But yeah, people were like, oh, the number's big. But if you don't think he's going to win, then whatever. Who cares how big the number is?
I got some
for me, you had mentioned Charles Howell.
How, not as an outright winner, but maybe as a top 10.
He'll probably be heavily decayed because he's Charles Howell.
Maybe, but like this is a bigger number than where I'm like, even in these super strong fields, Howell's usually like 50-1.
Yeah, he can
now he's
still
80-1.
He can still hold strong and cash you
a decent looking ticket. Yeah. So here's some trends that I found, just like making the cut type of thing before we get to the long shots. Try to guess. Let's play a game. Who are the 5 players who have gained the most strokes total at this event over the past 5 years? Jeffrey, you're on the clock.
Sergio Garcia.
Sergio is 4th.
Jason Day?
No.
Well, yeah. I mean, Adam Scott's always good here.
Adam Scott is
even
number
though
1.
I heard the
Adam
birdie
Scott
in
is
the
number
back
1.
of the room. I'm gonna is there some really random names in there?
Adam Scott, Francesco Molinari, Rory McIlroy, Sergio Garcia, Chris Kirk. Coming off a pretty decent week.
Kirk.
He might be a first-round leader, bet only, maybe a top 20. I don't know if he's going to win, but that's another guy with an awesome short game.
I throw this term around a lot. Form guy.
He is not. He is not necessarily a form guy.
No,
he can be.
I'm just but seeing signs of life in his irons is very encouraging.
Here are players that have played at least 3 times in the last 5 years that have not missed a cut at the Players. Adam Scott, Harold Varner, Justin Thomas, Ian Poulter, Dustin Johnson, Sergio, Kim, VJ, Alex Check Ya Head, Brennan Grace, and Zach Johnson. And guys that are a perfect 2 for 2 because they've only started 2 times. Tommy, Noren, Cantley, Rahm, and Grayson Murray are all a perfect 2 for 2 this course. Harris English sucks at this course, by the way. That's why I brought him up earlier. He has the worst track record of anyone in the field. He has missed the cut the past 5 years. Willett has also missed the cut 4 times in the past 5 years. Never making a cut. That's why I was hesitant on Willett. Next week, man, Valspar for Willett. We're gonna get, maybe it's gonna be Heritage for Willett. We're gonna get our Willett money back here somehow. We're going to get it in good on Willett. But those are just some of the trends that I saw. Aaron Badley has the most water balls on 17 since, 2003? 13 balls into the water. Phil is second with 9.
How do you walk onto a PGA course when you're off in the penultimate group without a freaking logo on your hat?
Do you think that people only sponsor him at alternate events because they know he's going to be on the leaderboard?
I'm saying, like, if you're in the Titleist truck, like, can't you just cut the guy a check to wear your hat that day?
I mean,
like, he's in the second last group.
If he need, it's like when people used to go on, like the World Series of Poker and they ended up in like the November 9, that this all of a sudden they would get a flood of sponsorships to wear. Like, you know, Aaron Badley's agent contact Pat Mayo. Maybe I can get the Pat Mayo experience to be sponsoring Aaron Badley if he needs the money so badly. I mean, I don't have a lot to invest in it, but if it's nothing or something, I would take something, wouldn't you?
Those guys at Tour Junkies might be able to write a bigger check.
Yeah, that's probably true. Maybe we can go in on it together.
Maybe. 100 to 1. This is the Players Championship. It's got a history of rewarding
some longer shot guys. So the long shots, I got 2 straight off the hop, both 100 to 1.
Team No Putt.
Team No Putt. Well, one is on part of Team No Putt. The other one's Team
Never Putt.
No. Listen, Sungjae is all over the place. Oh, that's not who you thought I was going to say.
Ben An.
Ben An is in. 100 to 1, he's in. If I'm going to bet Hideki at 40, I'm betting Ben An at 100. They're essentially the same guy. Yeah. Hideki is better. The upside is higher. But if you just look at like ball striking and cannot putt, and Ben An actually over the past 24 rounds, I believe is the best around the green. I might have that off. Let's see. Around the green numbers, and they're not even up on the board. I forgot to throw them in. He's inside the top 5 in terms of strokes gained around the green. The guy has touch. And Im is just playing well. And I I really have him pegged to win. He's my guy to win, win Heritage. Like, he's not super long off the tee. He hits a lot of fairways. And he gains a bunch of strokes. For a guy that doesn't hit the ball far, to be inside the top 30 in strokes gained off the tee is super impressive. And he's super consistent. Like, he's gained strokes around the green in each of his past 5 tournaments. He's gained strokes on approach in 7 of his past 8 tournaments. He's gained strokes off the tee in every tournament he's ever played except for 1. So he's 12.
Which is the week he was like chalk,
yeah,
right?
The one week everyone was all in on him.
This guy's really good. He hangs around. I was 20 years old. He's a wonder kid. Oh, we're in. And then he has like his worst week ever.
But we talk about like the players being a spot for a breakthrough for a player. Siwoo became the youngest winner ever at age 21. Sungjae is only 20, but I could see him winning this.
I
like him at 100 to 1. And like with the top 6 each way, that's really nice. So I can get him, I can get on. The way I described it in my column is one of these guys is going to blow up my DraftKings lineup this week. But I can't figure out which one it is. So I'll just play both of them and see how it works. Just keep them separated in lineups. They're both $6,800 on DraftKings too. And I think that 100 to 1 is a fair number. Yeah. Im's playing great.
You could easily talk me into both those bombs. I've actually already bet on, but Im... I don't want to overlook. And
if you have a character limit on what you can bet, Im and On really work out well. You throw Nah into there too. Or huh? The only other guy that I bet from down in this range was Keimer at 160. Former winner. Guy doesn't need any form, although he is played better.
Saw a little bit of
seen a little bit of life. It only takes a little bit of life for Martin Keimer, and all of a sudden he's in the winner's circle again.
So I got a couple to talk about. I think Kisner at 125 can be attractive.
That was one that really stuck out to me too. There was 2 of them that I didn't really know what to do with. Kisner was one of them who played really well tee to green last week. Couldn't putt, which is atypical. A guy that, again, plays the Sony well, plays the Heritage well, plays Pete Dye courses really well. Has come second at this tournament in the past. I can get behind that. The other one was Zach Johnson at 125 to 1.
Yeah, not really my brand. I saw he must have putted the lights out. He had like 21 putts one day and was just 2 under.
Yeah. I'm not betting him, but I thought he was intriguing. Kisner does more for me. Obviously, Luke List is there. He'll get my FOMO money, but
I've just got to go to the...
Is Neiman in this field?
I didn't see.
No, he's not in it. So I can save some money on Neiman this week. That's nice.
Someone brought something up, and I mentioned this player last week, thinking he could be on a hot run, seeing his one of his best friends win. You're gonna throw this back in my face.
Do you know who led all players in strokes gained approach?
That's where I was going.
At the players a year ago.
Oh, I don't know about the year ago, but I was talking about last week.
I was going to say Daniel Berger actually led the players last year.
So from the office of Kenny Kim, Chesson Hadley gained 9 strokes with his approaches this week, first in the field. Last season, he had 2 instances where he gained 6+ strokes with his approaches. Sanderson and the Farmers. His finishes in the next events were 4th at the Shriners and 5th in the Waste Management. Finished 11 at Sawgrass last year. I know you're so anti.
You really like Chesson.
You're really anti-Chesson.
Do you know why? I will pull up the Chesson number that is going to sink your dreams. I have it open on Fantasy National right now. I mentioned how around the green numbers.
I know he's bad.
Look, can you read out some of these numbers for me here in the around the green category? Why don't you say minus?
Yeah, it's just all minuses.
All minuses. If this guy doesn't hit the green, he's screwed. Now, if he think about last week. You gained 9 strokes on approach. And what did he come? 17th?
Well, because he made
He gains 2.5 strokes putting.
He had that hole where
he can't drive the ball and he can't chip the ball. That's a problem for this course.
Yeah, that's cold water.
Now,
Varner 225?
that actually he's been just piss poor like the past 6 rounds. What is Hadley's number? I didn't even look at what his number was.
160.
160. Listen, I bet Keimer, like he's no worse of a bet than Keimer is. So pick your poison. If you want to go with Hadley, I'm not going to talk you out of it, but these are the reasons why not. I can make the case against Keimer too if you'd like me to.
Do you
Except
know?
one guy has won 2 majors and won the Players before, and the other one's fucking Chesson Hadley. I think he's not over being Andercursed at the Honda last year.
2 questions. Do you know who won Top American this week and then who came second place Top American?
Top American this week. It may have been List.
Second place.
List was second?
List.
Who finished ahead of him?
He went out early.
Glover?
No, come on.
Kirk?
No. Killa.
Oh yeah, Killa Keith.
Yeah, so Killer Keith cashed off a win, cashed someone a Top American bet, which still
I like it.
Pretty good.
Killa Keith, not bad.
And a lot of guys, because I actually heard in the post rounds I mentioned the interviews on the radio feed were they're just so much more detailed or better. I felt guys were making a lot of comparisons to like the Ryder Cup course last week at Bay Hill, and you saw the whole leaderboard was Europeans.
Yeah, do you know why they did that? Because the whole leaderboard was Europeans.
Okay. But I don't know, just water,
I even
rough.
had someone, it's like, oh, this guy, it's like, oh, no wonder he played poorly. He couldn't hit it out of the rough. And I went back and looked at his card. He hit 4 balls into the water off the tee. It's like, no, the rough wasn't real penal for him.
Sorry.
The guy just drove it into the water.
I guess the thing that probably also made the Ryder Cup comparison so easy was that Mollywood had a great week.
And Fleetwood was there, and
Well,
Rory
that's
played
Mollywood.
well. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I get it. And maybe, but I mean, this course is so much longer.
No, I was talking about Bay Hill.
No, Bay Hill. Now, this course, if you jacked up the rough, would actually resemble whatever the
Club National.
Club
Oh, there you go.
National de France.
It's his bet.
That's more Quebecois than French.
There was a French player you were, I don't know.
Was it Gregory Après? Or Mathieu Pavon? Mathieu. I'm waiting for someone, do you know, like in French, Stephen isn't a name. There is a name.
Stéphane?
No, it's Etienne. We need to get some Etienne going. We need a golfer named Etienne. What's the most stereotypical French last name we can find? We should make that a giveaway too. It's not a giveaway.
know.
Just tweet at me what you think the most. I don't know. Like, what's the Smith of France?
Pierre?
Pierre might be
It's
a first
more
name.
like a first name.
Yeah.
But how about Andrew Putnam?
How about him?
I was just trying to get.
There was someone who was sponsored by something Putnam this week that I saw. I just like, what an odd sponsorship. No, there's no one really from down here.
Nothing for me. Willett at 250 can always kind of catch my eye, but you think that he's going to pop Valspar.
What about your boy Beergarden? First time at the course. Beergarden.
No. And credit, I don't know, love Matt Wallace.
Yeah.
I don't know about bet him this week, but I like
real hero of the each way market, Matt Wallace.
Like, well, depends. But he I looked really silly. I can do that often, and I sort of was like, oh, Wallace, like he's making his first runs here. He's probably just happy to be here. No, he's a gamer. And I tweeted about him last night, like that he has it, and he's gonna conquer PGA Sundays. So like the bunch of people, I'm aware he won many times in Europe. Trust me. But I also feel about him the same way I would have, jumped off, died on the hill, saying Tommy and Noren will conquer these PGA Sundays.
What about your boy Noren? 110-1.
The form just looks like
garbage.
Like worse than garbage. Because he's even gone to some places that he played well last year, and like even at Honda. I know like things can go ugly for you at Honda, even if you're in good form, but I don't know. Like, is there anything in his stats that show like it's just gonna turn?
No,
Because it's
not from
it's
what I can
all
see.
red. It's all red.
Let me look up Noren. I'll tell you what the
But
number
110 to 1.
what the numbers say about
Big number.
Alexandre Noren, as Tim would say. He actually gained strokes on approach in Phoenix. That's nice. That's about all I can say. He's lost a combined 11 strokes putting the last 2 events. So that should get better theoretically. But everything else looks kind of like a disaster. How about this? I'll give you the top 20 in around the green numbers for the past 50 rounds. I'll shrink it down here too. Badley's the best because he gains 14 strokes per round around the greens. Badley, are you listening to me?
I am.
Badley and Bud Colley, Webb, Sink. Rory, Justin Thomas, Reed, Rose, Poulter, Tiger, Day, Zach Johnson, Louis, Fleetwood, Snedeker, Uline, Kuchar, Hatton, Sung J M. Those are your top 20 from around the green over the past 50 rounds. That do anything for you?
It's some impressive names.
Those are guys that are going to save themselves a lot of strokes. Recently, Badley is still the best over the past 12 rounds. Badley, Colley, Thomas, CH3, Webb, Ann, Fleetwood, Olesen. I didn't even bring up Olesen.
200 to 1.
How about Thorborn? Everyone's all big on Beauregard these days. What about Thunderbear? Missed the cut at the Players last year. Truly disastrous at the Players last year. That's not
I
good.
feel like he's had a pretty ugly
Oh my God,
PGA.
he played last week?
Yeah, he's had a pretty ugly run lately, I think.
Yeah, he was 45th in Mexico and missed the cut last week. Wouldn't he be as the sort of guy that you would like around here, though? Just go and pile up some birdies?
He can get unconscious.
Maybe maybe first round leader?
Were you thinking List's number would be stronger?
I think that's a fair number for List, coming off a top 10. He has never made the cut at this event. He's 0 for 2. Him and Cam Smith, both 0 for 2. But like, there's some really big, like Grace 160, Snedeker 175, the Gooch 225. Like, there's some really long numbers here.
Sun Kang?
Sun Kang played really well on Sunday. Gave it away at the end. But what about Killer Keith? 100 to 1.
That's feels strong for a guy. What more could he have done in the last 2 events?
Nothing.
To then still be like with Ben on. I like Ben. We're supporting Ben on this week, but like, or that he hasn't separated himself in the odds market from Jason Kokrak.
Kokrak played well again last week, in fairness.
Okay, I hope I'm making my point.
Yeah,
though.
you are. I think having the name Keith Mitchell is not awe-inspiring. I think if his name was like Turbo Mitchell, he'd be like 50 to 1.
Or like Maverick Mitchell.
Yeah. Like, that would really help.
Yeah. Oh,
help
yeah.
him in the betting market a lot.
Yeah. Hatton 100.
Hatton 100 it's a very good number. That's the thing, though. There's so many of these good numbers that you can't get sucked into them all.
Not Noren. Hadwin. The course, sort of the length of it could play to
Maybe
him.
Canadians have a
But
strong.
I guess he's more Valspar, right?
Canadians have a strong track record here because Canadian resident Stephen Ames once won. That was the same year he lit Tiger.
It's Jacksonville, right?
Ponte Verde Beach, yeah, Jacksonville.
Yeah,
I think it's Jacksonville. Is that where it is?
Furyk lives here.
Furyk actually rates out really well.
Since Buddy wrote him up, he's actually been very solid.
He got the anti-Dr. Fade bump.
Yeah. Like, he's played his best golf in since his 59, since Buddy wrote him up.
Like, he's not good off the tee, but he's great everywhere else. He came 9th at Honda. What's Furyk's number?
140. It's
That's
lower
it?
than it looked. Yeah, it should be. You're thinking you could catch like a 220. I know.
Furyk 7,100 on DraftKings. I can buy that.
I don't really know if there's anyone.
We're just talking
else.
to talk at this point. Bubba Watson,
Yeah.
Billy Horschel, Keegan.
Doesn't Grillo have some interesting stats here, but he still sucks?
He actually had a good performance last year.
When I first proclaimed he'd win a big boy pants tournament,
I did that too. We went all in on him at 125 to 1 3 years ago.
Kind of the event that I was referring to.
Honest to God, every time there's water, he finds the middle of it.
The middle of it.
Like not like bouncing off the fairway into the water, the middle of the water. He's that guy. So that's never fun. I actually tweeted out some Grillo numbers. Here, over the past 24 rounds on Pete Dye tracks specifically, Grillo has gained on approaches in 21 of 24 of those rounds. If you look at his putting, he has lost. He's only gained strokes in 5 of those 24 rounds. That's been his big problem, the putting. And we see it all the time. What's his number?
90, but I've seen it as high as 120 in another shop.
Well, 120 is probably the better number to take if you're going to take it. I don't know if he can win, but top 20, top 10 look for Grillo. He'll probably be on my first round leader card, I would imagine, depending on what that number is. But he is someone that does intrigue me, for sure. Because he does have that sort of game that we want here. Like, the guy's not a great putter, but he's a great ball striker. And he's playing at a course where it doesn't really impact the shorter hitters. And some people are saying where it's going to play softer, it's going to become a bomber's track. I don't see how this could play as a bomber's track. Do you?
It's impossible.
It's just too short.
And there's so much runoff that you're just begging for problems.
So I
the
guess
cost benefit of the driver on the majority of these holes is not in play here.
I know I keep bringing up my column this week.
It was a good one.
I actually put some effort into it.
No,
it's my longest column in probably 3 years. I did an extensive amount of research because I have to break whatever poor research that I've been doing for the players. Maybe the move was back when I was betting on Keimer because he had great lead-in form. That's all I looked at. So I bet on him and knew that he had won a major before. Maybe I need to go back to reverting to more simplistic type of research, but I really dug in deep on this one. I did a big thing on the 12th hole, and that is something that they've been trying to improve, that they want to make that a risk-reward drivable par 4. Very similar to number 10 at Riviera, which is the best of the short par 4s on tour, but it just doesn't work out that way. Everyone just hits like iron off the tee to get it close, then they chip it up and chip it 2 feet and tap it in for birdie. Like, that's supposed to be a double bogey or eagle hole. It's supposed to have huge swings, and it just doesn't play that way. So I don't know if there's substantial reward here to going crazy off the tee with the driver on any of these holes outside the par 5s that's going to make the field do it to generate easier shots because it's short enough where it doesn't. Like, realistically, they're not going to be hitting gap wedges in. They're going to be hitting 8 irons in. So it's a difference between a 7 and an 8 iron. And if you have to hit an 8 iron, you have to hit driver and bring water into play. Why would you ever tempt that fade?
I completely agree.
Quick picks for the Players Championship. My card may include Tiger. It does not as of right now. I will release my cheat sheet on my Facebook page, facebook.com/thepme, Wednesday afternoon. Also the live chat, 1 p.m.
So
I might lock that in. My picks, I'm going all with the each way too. I'm playing the top 6 each way this week. Sergio 33, Hideki 40, Paul Casey 50, Ian Poulter 55, Im and On at 100. And I took a roll of the dice on my main man, Martin Keimer, and of course the FOMO bets of the week. I always bet Siwoo. I always bet Luke List. They're on the card too. You.
So you're saying if Tiger doesn't show up on your cheat sheet to pound Tiger?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. For me, at the top, I'm staring at Fleetwood and Sergio. I'm going to have to make a decision there. Hideki, Woodland, Casey. Ben On.
Bet him too.
I guess on they come together. And I'm such a fan. So sure, and I'll have some Luke List.
So my big decision comes down to the final spot on my card is either going to be Tiger at 28, or I'll drop down into that other region where some of the names that I mentioned, like I like Cantley at 45.
Yeah, Cantley.
I like Kuchar at 60. I like Stenson at 55. Woodland at 55. They all pique my interest. Now, one Tiger equals 2 of those guys in terms of what you would have to allocate for your money to make the payouts all the same, which I like to do. So I find that very intriguing, and I'm more comfortable with the each ways on the 2 deeper guys than I would on a 28-1 with Tiger.
I think Paul Casey's mispriced.
I agree. That's why I bet him.
His form has been outstanding. What he does well works.
Past 3 starts. What are his finishes?
You know them, but I
only know 2 of them. I forget what he came in Mexico. No, he came 3rd in Mexico. He has a 2nd, a 3rd, and something else.
What he does well almost suits this layout perfectly.
Yeah, can he putt is the question. Same as Hideki. Can they putt? If they don't putt, they're not going to win. If they putt marginally well, I'm not looking for Paul Casey to gain 9 strokes putting here. I'm looking for him to gain 2 over the course of the week and just play like he normally does, and he should be fine.
And of the other players that you mentioned that you're kind of thinking about, I really could find myself betting Cantley at 50.
Okay.
Or sorry, it's 45.
You can find a 50 out there, I'm sure.
Maybe you could. I think he is. I'd be embarrassed.
Yeah, but his number in this field, like, I don't understand why he gets priced at 45, but Finau drops to 60. Because I feel like they're together. And Finau, and normally Finau has the shorter number than Cantlay. It's really strange.
You bringing that up bothers me, but again, it just comes down to I think Cantlay can. I'm more confident if I have to pick this week who would win. I'm
actually with you. I agree with you. But
it's that's frustrating. That's frustrating. Cantlay should be the 55. Maybe he'll get there. Is he going to be a popular pick? I don't know.
Maybe he's just always a popular pick, so they price him up. People like to bet him.
I think he suits this place well, and he's, I don't know, got like a villain look going. Last time we saw him in Mexico with his like chin strap and the black outfit.
Cantlay and Finau both fit that mold of like, this is the breakthrough win for a player that's going to be great.
It would be painful to like stare at that Finau number that's so much better than any time you've bet Finau in the last year,
and then watch him win.
And watch him win when you've like pissed money down at Finau 25-1, thinking this is like the week the well breaks. Azinger, I know
not going to win.
You're pretty easy on guys making like those on-air mistakes because you do 340 shows a year.
402 last year, sir.
I feel like I made that exact mistake a couple weeks ago also, but that was pretty like Stephen A. Smith type.
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't watch golf with the commentators on.
I didn't even hear it because I said I was listening to a radio feed, but that took me aback.
What did he say? I didn't even see what he said.
Oh, he said that this was Molinari's like biggest win of his career.
Sharp stuff from Paul Azinger.
So, people were losing their minds.
Of course they did. They probably threatened his kids.
Also, I need to clarify because last week you teed me up with something, but
Did it get resolved?
There's been a conflict resolution.
Okay, so we don't need to bring it up again.
We don't need to go there, but multiple people reached out to me to make sure things were okay because I was incredibly serious, but also incredibly vague. So, and I'll remain vague.
A bunch of people reached out to me being like, does Geoff have some sort of beef with someone? I was like, no, it's not with someone. It's with something.
Yeah.
But it's fine now.
Yeah, everything's...
And we'll leave it at that.
Everything is good.
One and done picks for the Players Championship. Because I had Ben on and won the one and done, would you like to air your gripes with the system?
It was voted on. I was like aghast when I saw that. Now I don't really care.
It was a rule implemented before the year. So what happens is in the Gups Corner one and done, the one that we all play in, that you pick two guys. You pick your main pick and you pick an alternate in case something happens like your player withdraws. The rule was voted on before the year that if your player withdraws during round one before completing his round, your pick will switch to the alternate. And anyone who took Jason Day last week ended up with, I think a lot of us ended up with Pyun Han Han because he was the first name on the alternate list, and I never put any thought into it. He came T10. So
well, I bet
the less you know, the better you do, Geoff.
I guarantee you there's at least like 6 people out there that had Molinari as their day alternate.
Probably.
And good for them. I'll say the pool is so large, and I can't imagine more than like 220 people voted, but that's sort of like a microcosm of society. Not everyone votes.
Yeah.
I was just like really taken aback when I saw that, but a rule's a rule, and we're all playing under the same thing, and the chances of that happening, like whatever, it's such a small thing. Like you, I'm literally like On or Albertsons are like my ants like guaranteed alternate because I don't even waste a minute. I just thought that was there because who wants to wake up at 6:45 Friday to see?
I mean that is what it's there for too.
Yeah, but the guys in the teed off.
Listen, as someone who has now benefited from this rule, I love it.
Yeah, no, whatever.
I can't say better things about it.
I don't actually care. Like if I'm coming off, like I care. I'm coming off.
You're just
like,
mad because I got a top 10 out of it.
No, I didn't even know till now. I'm just relieved you didn't have Molinari.
Yeah,
I guess.
I kind of wish I had Molinari. So last week you had Bryson,
disaster.
Cust had Stenson, and I had On. So I win. So I get first pick. Although Tim has already picked Rory, so that's his one and done.
Yeah, Tim
pick.
Doesn't play by our rule of, but because we're just happy to get his pick by the time we do a show.
Yeah. So Rory for Cust. I can't remember if I've used Sergio or not. I don't think I have, but I will be using Sergio.
I'm pretty sure I have.
Use Sergio? Well, you can't use him because I picked him.
No, I know. I'm just sorry.
I have it written down over there, but it's over there, and I can't get up and go look. So that's where we're at. If not, on my cheat sheet, I'll have whatever my pick is if I've used Sergio.
I should have done this.
I got to start printing these out before we start.
Yeah,
it's been like 4 years, and I never do it. I should really start doing that.
Well, now that I'm already in the thing.
You should pick Tiger.
And I can.
You pick Jason Day as your one and done.
No.
That's what I should have done. I should just double down on Jason Day. Over of the 3,200 entries in the Gups Corner one and done, how many do you think will use Jason Day? Over, under 20.
Over?
Okay.
Yeah.
Who you taking?
I'm on the thing now to make sure I can use the golfer, and I can.
Hideki?
Fleetwood.
Oh, you're using Fleetwood.
Yeah.
But you're not betting Fleetwood?
I might.
I thought you would have picked Hideki.
I might have I don't know. I didn't use Hideki in Phoenix. No, I try. Like, Fleetwood's got the 2 for 2 here. His game is on point. He got caught in the worst of it on late Saturday. It's coming. I really wish his number was closer to 35 because I probably would have bet it yet. But I don't know. I don't want to make too big of a deal out of 5 points either.
You think you'll bet Fleetwood over betting Tiger?
It's such a God. When you say it like that, you can't say it like that.
I'm gonna check in to see if that Tiger number's dropped yet.
Can't say it like that. That's the problem. And we didn't even mention his name, but he's horrible here, and that's Rahm, right? People are just
Rahm has never missed the cut here. He had a blow up and MDF'd on. He was winning and shot 84 on Saturday one year, and got MDF'd. I remember that. Now Tiger's still at 28.
So Rahm feels like the elite that literally nobody.
You want a pivot play on DraftKings this week? Start your lineups with Rahm Xander, who we just basically glossed over. I think, again, I'll talk this through. So the schedule coming up for this week, I've already released the process show, the research. If people want to get behind the curtain a little bit to see how I research stuff for my columns, for my bets, for my DraftKings lineup. That's a show that's up right now on my podcast feed. I recommend people watch the video for it because it has visuals in it. It'd be really hard to glean too much from it from just listening to the audio. But hey, maybe you're familiar enough with the Fantasy National product that, boom, you're good to go with that. Become a member at fantasynational.com. You can find all the links in the description of this, along with the Listeners League. $15 to enter, 3 max, $75,000 guaranteed.
You don't waste any space with pointless apps, do you?
No. I
can see it's just the important ones right there.
Well, this is also I don't take this home. This is just for the studio. I don't want to clutter up. It has the teleprompter app, the PGA app, the DraftKings app,
your Sunday ticket app.
My phone is a bit different.
Yeah.
Got a lot of games on my phone. I spend a lot of time in transit. Oh, there's the Listeners League link. So I can actually find out what the actual details are.
With 5,000?
Let me find out. It's about to load right now. So the Listeners League this week is 5,000 entries. Let's see. Payout structure. 5,000 entries, 15. Oh, it's still $5,000 at the top. All right. So I really harped on them to keep the payouts flat. I think that's the most prudent move. So $5,000 for first, $3,000 for second, $2,500 for third, $2,000 for fourth, $1,500 for fifth, $1,000 for sixth. It's a pretty good payout structure, to tell you the truth. Seventh and eighth, $750. Top 100 will net you at least $75 on your $1,500 entry. In the top $3,300 spots, if you come 721 to 1330, you get double your money. It's pretty good, to tell you the truth. I like that flat payout structure. I'm glad they really worked on it with this. So please fill it. If you like this sort of stuff, it's really important to fill this stuff early because, listen, I'm not guaranteeing the money. DraftKings is guaranteeing the money based on the fact that people like this show. People want to get into a contest that's rake free. They're putting up $75,000. That's paying out either way this week. And if it doesn't fill, not only does it make me look really bad, the contest probably goes away.
We haven't been there yet.
We haven't.
We haven't even had to beg for
I had to beg once.
But we weren't up against it yet. You were just I don't want to have to beg at the end.
Yeah.
So you were kind of proactive, but there was never a fear that one wasn't going to get full.
No.
in my opinion, at least. Yeah, I'll be in. You can mark me in for 3.
I'm going to be in for 3. We'll see if we can finally get Cuss to play.
He doesn't play.
He played like once.
What a guy. And he's bragging about his free money, no hole-in-one bet to us this morning.
And won't bet it? Like a coward? Why do I have to bet it? Why do I have to prove to you? It's like, at least stay. Like, you're wrong so often. You can just say whatever you want. At least put some money behind it, coward. He's like, well, is that the only thing that means anything to you? Money? What about just being right? It's like, well, if you try to predict 1,000 things per day and you get one of them right, that doesn't make you good at this.
And people got really upset when he referred to M&M's as a chocolate bar.
Well, they're clearly not a chocolate bar. Like, isn't a bar a very specific thing? Like a shape?
And his logic was that because of where they're located, like in the stores.
But aren't they located by like Skittles as well?
That's what people were
That makes no
coming
sense.
back with. Yeah.
He also had Raisin Bran as his number 1
Oh.
cereal. Paul, was it Raisin Bran? Or was it Special K? Special K.
Raisin Bran is in the top 10, though.
I've tried to like really cut out cereal because I like the ones that'll give me the diabetes.
Oh, diabetes.
So,
You have to talk
yeah.
to Wilford Brimley about that.
So cereal's from my past, but I still like wrestling, which should have been from my past.
Maybe that's the next show that we do. We'll stop doing golf picks and we'll just review vintage. We'll steal Way and John's whole.
That's like a whole industry now.
I would be into
That
like
is a-
reviewing old Royal Rumbles.
That's a whole thing. Like I'm addicted to that Conrad Thompson, Bruce Pritchard podcast.
I don't know what that is, but
Exactly. Nor should you. 5 people out there would. But I'm addicted to like the inside stories of what an industry. What a gong show.
Maybe I will end up taking I didn't really take any paternity leave because I was back immediately. Maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe we'll film. Maybe we'll get Erdman in here.
Oh my god.
And the 3 of us will rank our like favorite tag teams ever, our favorite intercontinental champions ever. We'll make that a show. I think people will be down for that. I think there's not like, I haven't watched wrestling in probably 10 years. So no one from the past 10 years is going to make these lists for me. But I think I have enough of a base from 1985 to 2003 that I was a big fan back then. Who wasn't? Raw used to be like a thing.
A thing.
Maybe it still is, and it's out of my
Literally
sphere.
remembering like
But, like,
going to school the next morning after Raw.
And people be fired up
It
for
was
Raw.
like even the teachers. Like I remember my teachers were like breaking down Raw. These like some of them were younger guys, but
I remember
nonetheless.
getting a call, and this is back before cell phones. So like someone called my house.
like
A friend. No. When the invasion first happened and ECW invaded Raw, with like Tommy Dreamer was standing in the crowd, he just like freaked out. He had to talk to someone. Like, it was a big deal to us in like grade 10. That'll do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Live shows this week. Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time with Reed Fowler, taking the questions from the audience, helping you get set with ownership percentages, lineup decisions, any question you have. And if your question is stupid, you're going to get banned for life, which is everyone's favorite part of the show anyway. Friday, Cut Sweat live. Pay attention to Twitter for that because we'll figure it out on Thursday what time we really need to get in. I'm guessing 3:30 or 4 o'clock. That'll start all the way until the cut line has been determined. We'll sweat some lineups. We'll lose some bets. We'll have some fun. There'll be a live chat on there too. Again, if you want to get into a draw for $20 DK, leave an audio review, rate, review, subscribe, 5 stars, something nice about the show, your DraftKings handle, or smash the like button for the episode. Leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section and tell me which player with the highest odds at the Players Championship this week you think is going to miss the cut. Jeff, who do you think it's going to be?
Wow. I'll say
Justin Thomas. There we go. I can see you seeing it at the corner of my eye. Anyway, I'll say Justin Thomas as well. Watch him win. I'm Pat Mayo. Thank you all for watching. Sub to the show. Remember to do that. Spread the show around too and read that article. I'm proud of it. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!